Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. This is Christmas Day, or at least I'm recording it now. Sending you so many happy holidays and joyful experiences. I'm Reverend Jay Lang, and this month of December has been really wonderful celebrating the season of light. On Sundays, I've been telling stories, faith traditions that all celebrate light during this time. Diwali, Hanukkah, Las Posadas, the solstice. All of these events are about the light, and today it is Christmas. So Merry Christmas. And what I want to share with you today is the story of Christmas, told from a spiritual or metaphysical perspective. What I know about the Bible is, first of all, it's the most sold book ever. And yet, almost every reader has different interpretations of what they've read. Simple words and so many different meanings. So for myself, I rely on what I know to be my anchor. And any sacred text, I can take these words and in meditation and contemplation and centering, allow the words to come up to me and reveal the truth, allow Spirit to reveal the truth of what is important for me to know at this time. And the interpretation or the metaphysics or the spiritual interpretation of it can be different from one time to another depending on where I am in my unfolding spiritual path, my journey of becoming. What I know about the Bible is it has been altered and edited by people. Certain books were included and others were excluded. We know that because of archaeological digs that we have found others of those books that were excluded. And they also changed a few things about it, is in evidence also. For example, the first of the four Gospels, Mark, was written 70 years after the birth of Jesus. 70 years. So that was a couple generations of telling stories about it before it was written down. And on top of that, Mark did not have a birth story or a resurrection story. It wasn't until 100 years later when somebody wrote down a birth story. So we have many generations before that is told. So we don't know the factual stories of it, and there are some questionable things at times that bring out the skeptic in me. And yet I trust in Spirit. I trust in that truth that I can find. I don't need to know whether it's factually true or not. That's really unimportant to me. I've also have read many Jungian philosophers who interpret ancient myths and stories from a Jungian perspective, a symbolic, including Marion Woodman, Joseph Campbell, Clarissa Pinkola Estes, Robert Bly. And they believe these myths of old, whether they happened or not, have a deep importance to our soul, something very rich and opening to us, some truths that are in it. And that's true of the biblical stories or the ancient myths we know. It's Robert Bly that said a savior is an archetype, a god or goddess who comes to earth to teach or save us from ourselves. At the time Jesus was born and at these times now, we need God or goddesses to save us from ourselves at times. We need this new consciousness to be birthed right now. Also, it's interesting about the way Jungians interpret dreams. There's no set symbols that mean a certain things, but instead you notice the symbols and you can actually be different people in your dream to allow the truth of that to come forth. I also, once again, say the Spirit reveals in us what is important. This ancient wisdom that was in myths and stories of indigenous people, of ancient cultures, was often considered to be a feminine quality, a female quality, like grandmother spider, the turtle that was the first land. North America was called Turtle Island. And in Greek philosophy, they used the term philosophy. They called her, and used the pronoun her, Sophia. So the study of Sophia was philosophia. But it came to a time when teaching publicly about ancient wisdom was not safe. It was considered against the dominant religious and government leaders at that time. And especially it was not safe or okay for women to be the teachers. It's believed that Mary, the mother of Jesus, was in a wisdom tradition. She was possibly even a teacher. And they met privately in homes to discuss this. And some people believe that she was called to bear a child that would bring this truth, this ancient wisdom to the planet, to teach about love. And it's these ancient wisdoms that were being taught that were a foundation of what he talked about. I most resonate with the teachings of Jesus, not necessarily about the teachings about Jesus. And I love his words in Matthew when he said, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see how you serve Spirit and your fellow humans." So it is the story of this birth of this new consciousness that people call the Christ consciousness or Jesus that I think is important to tell. So I'd like to tell you this story the way that it's been revealed to me. Now I want to be clear, this is not the way, this is a way. And I invite you to take this story and see what it reveals to you, the important aspects of it. And perhaps there's something in the way that I tell it that you may resonate with it as well. It came to pass at a time of great darkness on the earth. There was a decree to return home and to be seen and heard and know that we matter, that we are accountable for efforts to make a difference in the world, for the good we have done and the good that we will do. For some, it was Bethlehem. Mary and Joseph were called there. For all of us, it is our spiritual home that we are being called to. God chose an intentional believer, a devout student, to bear a new light, a new consciousness, a new experience of wisdom and love. What I know is that we are all chosen. We are all chosen to bear this light, to be an expression of wisdom and love. You are chosen. We are chosen. And I don't mean not just this community, but the whole, everybody is chosen. They choose whether to accept this call or not. And like Mary, we are willing, hopefully willing, to bring forth this consciousness the Spirit is seeking to be birthed with at that time and this time. It is a question we can ask in our prayers with Spirit, what is seeking to be revealed in this situation? Especially when we feel in the dark, confused, not aware, not understanding. Seek this revelation of what is seeking to be birthed in this moment. Sometimes this revelation comes in a moment of inner insight. And other times requires us to walk on a journey of faith on this planet to allow it to be revealed. Either way, we know it's being revealed. We are like Mary and Joseph, the yin and the yang. Joseph, the logical and orderly aspect of ourselves, who wants to follow the cultural norms, who wasn't sure that he could marry Mary after he found out she was pregnant out of wedlock. But he recognized a higher power, a higher spiritual law that is greater than seeking approval from others. And he did decide to walk with Mary, to be husband and wife, to carry this child and journey to Bethlehem. We are also Mary, who is willing to surrender and be the expression of this new consciousness. We can imagine that we are these weary travelers who seek a place of refuge and rest. We have all had moments of weariness, of tiredness, exhaustion to the bones. And when we come to the inn to ask for a place for rest and rejuvenation, we find a collective mind, the inn, that is crowded with beliefs about lack, judgments, and exclusion. There is no room for us at the inn. I love the ritual of Las Posadas that we celebrated last week, where Mary and Joseph take a metaphorical journey and they sing a song trying to come into the inn, but at the end, there's no room. They're not allowed in until finally the door is opened and they're let in. So we can find this in ourselves. We seek shelter in the stable. In humble, holy, quiet places, we surrender our own judgments, any held grievances of ourselves or others, any false beliefs about separation, so that this new consciousness can be born in love and light. In this moment, we are like the baby Jesus, who is our true self being birthed, our authentic self. We've had a gestation of darkness in the womb and preparing ourselves, and now we are spiritually mature enough to be seen and heard and honored. We have a confidence in what we know. Even if we don't use words, we walk with this confidence. We've taken our first breath of awareness, the prana, the breath of life. And when we ever have doubts or confusion, we return to this breath and remember our divine essence. And in the same collective consciousness, we can imagine being the shepherds, the watch over their flocks by night in the darkness of unawareness. And lo, an angel, our inner guidance, reveals to us the glory and truth of the universe and shines as a great light all around us. At first, we are afraid and denial of our own worthiness and attached to the way life is, even if it's a life of scarcity and compromise. It is what we know. The angel of light and love speaks to our higher self, saying, "Be not afraid." I have a voice within me that reminds me to be not afraid. It doesn't keep me from being afraid and then needing the voice to remind me to be not afraid. And on this night, and in us tonight, it speaks of great joy and abundance that shall be to all people, if we are willing to let go and trust our conscious awareness. This day is born a new light, a new expression of the divine, the awakened awareness of God within us. We become mindful of our own negative thoughts and false assumptions, and our our shepherd's rod and staff will not let any of these thoughts have power over us, over our heart, or our well-being. Now, the rod and the staff is not in the story of Jesus, as you might know. It's actually from the 23rd Psalms. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Thy rod and thy staff comfort me. What I know about the rod and the staff is actually, historically, the same stick. So you have one end that is the hook or little catch that is the staff that guides the sheep with compassion and love, gently guides them. And within us, our higher self has this gentle, compassionate guide that's always loving. And then the other end of the stick, though, is thicker and harder and meant to hit possible predators that might hurt these sheep that I am tending. And there are times I need to use that firmness, that denial of false thoughts that are affecting me about my worthiness, my lovability. That is simply not true, that I'm not lovable, or that I'm not worthy, or that I am less than anybody. I am whole, complete, and perfect. I use the rod to move those thoughts away and then speak the truth that is the staff that guides me, the truth that I am this perfect being, having human experiences, and I am this divine being. So we are the shepherd as we guide our thoughts towards greater awareness, that which serves us, allowing Spirit to remind us of the thoughts that are not true. And we use our rod to get rid of them, deny them. They don't have power over us. Substance or thoughts, nothing has its power over us unless we allow it to. So as a shepherd, we travel to the manger in Bethlehem to see the miracle of a new consciousness. We recognize that this journey was necessary, even though intuitively we might have known it already. It is our remembering, awakening along the path that is allowing us to continue to see the light and hear the truth. For this realization, we kneel in gratitude. We kneel in front of this new consciousness that is truth unfolding in perfect ways. We can also imagine ourselves to be King Herod. That is our inner critic, our unrelenting dissatisfaction based on past experiences we've had, that we think that hurt and sadness and pain are just part of life, so we've accepted that, accepted a compromise of what life is, and this inner critic is unrelenting. And we know that this aspect of ourselves seeks to undermine the birth of a new way of being because it seeks to protect us. We think we need protection from perceived threats or a false sense of importance we're trying to keep. Instead of openness, we cling to the old ways of being because we think all we are is this shallow sense of identity, when there is so much more when we let go of that false sense of identity, and our more is always there. We are also the travelers from the east, the magi, who are divinely wise and willing to follow the star. Our intuition, guidance, and the light of truth within us that guides us. We arrive to counsel with Herod, and we realize he is a wounded leader and will only lead us astray. In this clarity, we continue on our journey, never to return, despite his insistence. Our prayers and attention keep us focused on the long journey, really many months according to the biblical story, because the Magi did not visit in the manger, but in the home of Mary and Joseph and Jesus. And in gratitude of arriving in the center of light and truth and wisdom, we are grateful and we are willing to give of these divine gifts which have essential meaning to us. That which we give from the heart. And so these gifts that we gave, frankincense, an aromatic incense, reminds us of the breath of life. Myrrh, an anointing oil that anoints kings and prophets and spiritual leaders. So this oil anoints us to the openness to listen to Spirit for the call to express wisdom and love, generosity, clarity. And we also give gold, the alchemy of heavy energy that's been transmuted to lighter, higher vibration energy. And it also represents a sharing of our abundance and gratitude for all that we have received in this moment. We also become the angel above the manger who holds in oneness all creatures below. The shepherds, the wise magi, Mary and Joseph, the baby Jesus, the animals, the sheep and the cows, and probably a few dogs and cats and even mice hiding among the hay in the manger, the trees and the plants that surround this manger. And as this angel high up above, we hold all that is in oneness. What appears as conflict or differences are really just part of the one. And we know there is peace, and we know there is love, and we know all is well. I love this aspect of myself, this higher self, that when I breathe and allow, I know all is well. I haven't figured everything out yet. There's still some problems. There's still some things to understand. And all is well because I'm being guided and protected by a greater knowing, a greater universe, a higher intelligence. And that's what I am aligning myself in. To be this angel, to allow Spirit to lead me. So this is the story of the birth of Jesus, according to what I understand. As we gather in this community of light bearers, right here, every time we gather, and including you online, we anchor in our truth and resolve to take the light with us wherever we may go. Our wisdom leads us to not go back to Herod or our old ways, but to choose a new path, to take resolve to be in the light in this day and days to come. We also know that if we veer off the path, there will always be angels of reminders and our inner guide to help us remember who we really are. We are never alone. We are always loved. And all is well. Know that you are guided and loved always. And so it is. Just a couple of reminders. We have services on December 31st, the World Peace Meditation at 4 a.m. January 1st, Sunday is going to be our Burning Bowl and White Stone ceremony. We appreciate you considering coming to those events. We will stream the January 1st event and not the World Peace Meditation, though. We appreciate your support of us in 2022, and we have a fantastic 23 already lining up to be one where we are engaged in the community, helping other nonprofits, partnering with them to create a better world. And the projects we do and the things services and classes we're doing are all opening up to this, fulfilling our vision to create a world that works for everyone by living intentionally, loving unconditionally, and seeing God in all people and all faiths. So we appreciate any donations you can offer us. You can go on our website, nvcsl.com, to find out more information about us, as well as donate either through our Breeze program or other ways that are listed there. If you push the donate button at the top of the page, we so appreciate your support. I'd like to end today with one last poem from Howard Thurman, the theologian, let me get my words out here, and philosopher, who thought about Christmas and these words came to him to write down and share with us. I will light candles this Christmas, candles of joy despite all the sadness. Candles of hope where despair keeps watch. Candles of courage where fear is ever present. Candles of peace for tempest-tossed days. Candles of grace to ease heavy burdens. Candles of love to inspire all of my living. And candles that will burn all year long. I think that's the importance of this message, is that Christmas and the light and the expression of wisdom and love is not a one day of the year event. It's every day. And our dedication to seeking that which Spirit is seeking to birth through us. In moments of quiet or in moments of walking on this planet and our openness, we know that we are serving a greater cause to create a world that works for everyone. For this, I'm so grateful. Thank you for being with me today, with us today. What a blessing you are right where you are, whether you hear this on Christmas or later on. I wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Many blessings and much love.